Good morning, responsible day traders. Today it's Monday, November 22nd, 2021. I am Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. So we know that we've got a holiday coming up. So in the US at least, there's Thanksgiving on Thursday. So things are going to slow down a whole lot, I'm assuming, because people are going on vacations, kids are out of school, all that kind of stuff. Things get a little crazy. We do have Black Friday coming up, which is always fun. Both Responsible Day Trading and You Profit Trader are going to have some specials for that. So just keep your peepers open. But besides that, I don't have a lot to say. I honestly haven't looked at anything. I haven't touched anything this weekend. I decided I just needed a weekend to myself. All right, let's go ahead and check out what news has to say. All righty, so let's bring it in and check out news. Let's see here what it's got to say. I like to go here to news, market news, and then we'll scroll down here. And as you can see, Monday, today, we've got something at 9. Wednesday, we got a pretty busy schedule Wednesday. A lot of early morning, some new home sales, crude oil inventories, and then we have FOMC at 1. So Wednesday could be a little bit interesting. I don't know, with Thursday being right there of the holiday and the early close on Friday, we may not see much going on at all this week. So I would consider being very, very cautious at anything you see. If you see it running out or dying out pretty early, I would pay attention to those kind of things. So let's go ahead and bring up the daily chart. Oh, look what's happening here. Okay, so the market pulled back as we pulled inside of the Bollinger Bands. Now, this is a very weak move down, but we can see a weak move down doesn't mean it won't continue down. I'm actually kind of expecting something a little bit like this. So to pull back up as it's reaching this bottom Bollinger Band, maybe even the BBs come in and pull back. And you can see right here, if we look straight down from this area, the way the MACDs are behaving, it told us that it was going to at least pull back to the area. So I'm really expecting something similar along the lines of that to happen. It happened in here. It happened back here where it just rolled inside and started to pull down. Not quite so much pulling out like it happened here, but this is the concept that we're going to roll off the bottom Bollinger Band. We're going to pull up towards the next Bollinger Band and possibly see this price give a pullback into the area like we've seen here. But as you know, I'm an immediate trader. So this is just a picture of the overall of what I'm anticipating. So let's pull up, some of the charts that we'll start referencing for today. One of them would be right here on the 28,657. Now, on the 28,657, what we notice here is we do have reversal bars happening towards this area that's held several times. Now, we did exceed that area. We pulled back and are bouncing right off of it. Now, I know we see these bars pulling back above it, but we're closing at the area. We're struggling to get back above there, and we're at the top Bollinger Band. So with the distance that it's creating to the EMAs, what we may see is this roll back into here and pull back towards the zero line and then push up, which would be really in tune with pulling back towards the EMA and then pushing up. Or second scenario is this reversal bar holds. And it holds at the top Bollinger Band, rolls and starts pushing down, kind of like what we see here, how it rolls off that top Bollinger Band and pushes down. So maybe a little bit deeper of a pullback towards this EMA. But all in all, we are still in the long run making new highs. You can see there's this lower low, then a higher low, just barely a higher low, but we're still making these little pivots to the upside. So this is the last major pivot that we had. And if we get back below this last major pivot, I'd be anticipating a little more continuation to the downside to possibly even reach this area that we discussed prior on the daily chart, right back here of the EMA. And this box is kind of big, but back here towards the EMA and where that last major high was previously. This market is just like human behavior, we are creatures of habit and we like to see things happen over and over again. And that's why Fibonacci's and using these patterns really mean a lot to me. Okay, so let's come to the immediate. Now, for the immediate, obviously, we've had a push back down. We had a nice big reversal bar happen on the 10,946. We have distance to travel back to the EMAs. Now, the BBs here look like they're trying to roll in. We had a ton of strength. So, unless these make a really sharp pull in, I'm going to anticipate this to roll off the Bollinger Bands and continue up. Now we are at the zero line. This BB you can see is starting to pull down with some strength. So if I'm looking at my trading chart, I'd be struggling to anticipate this spot to hold for a couple of reasons. Number one, we pulled up higher and higher and higher and higher, where we reached and exceeded that previous pivot point, right? But the whole time, this is pulling up to the upside, like we see here, new pivot higher, new pivot higher, new pivot higher. The MACDs can't even reach and cross that top Bollinger Band. This little roll off that top Bollinger Band is very, very telling of when we see this hard close up and hard close down, that we're anticipating this to push down more. So it's done that job. It's pushed down. It has moved back towards the zero line. Now we can anticipate overruns of the zero line, especially after a strong push down. If I'm looking at an area where I'm expecting it to possibly pull back to, the first one is this EMA, but with the way these MACDs are pushing down, we may see it come down to the next EMA here, which is very in line with the EMA and the resistance, support / resistance area. But then we have this next area down here, because we can see we've pulled through these EMAs several times and down to that bigger area. So with this tiny little reversal bar, this tiny little bar, and the MACDs pulling down, obviously the immediate is down. The overall is definitely up. We have not changed the direction per se. We'd want to see getting back below the EMAs, back below the zero line, pulling away from these areas, exceeding these previous lows, and pulling away from the areas of the EMAs in order to really anticipate a shift to the downside. Now, like I said, I trade the immediate, so it doesn't matter if the market has an overall trend of up or down, as long as we're paying attention to the pivots that are happening to make that overall trend happen. Because, if we think about it, there are people trading this market to the downside, even though the overall direction is up. So we have opportunity in all these little pivots and turns, as long as we're paying attention to our areas that we could reach. So would I want to take a short right now? Heck no, because it would have needed to come from back here about 2 points away. And I would need to see a lot of oomph to push through this EMA to get to the next one. Otherwise, I'm already at my first target. If I'm taking it from here, my first target is this EMA. The next target is this area. The next target is this area here. So I'm already at my first target. I would have to see some sort of pullback into the area, MACD's trying to stay strong to the downside, and these MACDs staying strong to the downside. Now, something I want to mention too here is, see how this BB is really pulling away? Or it was pulling away more than it is now. We're watching this tick counter. We're watching this count down. And as it's counting down, this BB is going to shift and move, because it is a live MACD BB dot, which means that it moves with the price. So as this is getting closer to zero, I'm able to determine what this MACD is really going to do. Is it really going to push down as we're getting closer and closer to zero? Are we really seeing this close pushing towards the downside? Or as we get closer to zero, will it move back up on the bar? Those closes are very important to me. Understanding where they're happening while it's working with the MACDs, lets me really have better insight into what the market is doing in the immediate. That's going to wrap it up. I don't know if I'm going to be trading today. I have a few things I want to take care of. I have a little bit of free time, but my kids are leaving for their dads tomorrow. So I'll probably spend a little bit of time with them and just hang and, see if we can't just have a little family time, because Thanksgiving is going to be some alone time for me. Don't feel bad for me though. I got some Friendsgivings coming up right after that. So folks went on a cruise. Kids will be at their dad's. It'll be some nice time, some nice quiet time to reflect and hold off to Saturday to take on all those calories. So I'm good with that. All right, guys. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. Be careful of Wednesday if you are trading, because remember, Thursday's a holiday, Friday's a holiday also. So things are going to get really slow, especially right before that FOMC. So it might just get a little hectic. Not necessarily hectic. It might get to where it's hard to read, because when it's slow moving, it's very, very hard to read unless you're on a really, really small chart to stay with it. And then it moves so fast, it gets even more difficult. So that's going to wrap it up. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.